All right, we are ready to get started now. So welcome again, and thank you for taking the time to join the City of Kingston's second engagement session for the Westbrook Park expansion and Creekside Valley Park projects. My name is Nancy Knight, a communications officer from the City of Kingston, and I will be moderating tonight's session. Behind the scenes tonight, we also have Adriana Medina Havela and Julia Morbin, who will be our technical producers tonight. So before we move on to our presentation, I have a couple of housekeeping items to share. So first off, this session is live streamed to YouTube and recorded. So to protect your privacy, all of the participants have your video turned off and have been muted, and the chat functionality in Zoom is turned off. Next, we know that sometimes technology troubles happen. There is a list of common challenges on Get Involved Kingston, including what to do if your audio or video aren't working. Please note that you're also able to adjust your view options so that you can see both the presentation and the members of the project team at the same time. If for some reason your internet connection does go down, you can call into the meeting at the number on the screen. So please write it down just in case. I'll read it out for you now. The number is 613-453-5818, and the webinar ID is 827-9247-5752. You can also follow live on YouTube, where this session will be closed caption. We will do our best to help you with technical problems, but sometimes the easiest way to resolve issues is to log out of Zoom and rejoin the meeting. And you can do that using the link you received in your registration confirmation email that you used to join tonight. Today, we're also going to provide a question and answer period following the presentation. If you do have a question at any point during the presentation, you can use the Q&A feature, but I will hold your question until that question period. The Q&A feature can be found on the bar across the bottom of the screen. So to ask a question, simply type into that question area. You're also welcome to raise your hand to speak and ask a question during the Q&A. To do this, please use the raise hand function that can be found by following these steps. Click on the Q&A and a pop-up will appear. There will be multiple options. Choose raise hand, and then I will be monitoring for this, and I will acknowledge you and then turn on your microphone so you can ask a question or make your comment. If you are calling in tonight and would like to raise your hand, you can press *9. On your screen now, you should see our guidelines for participation. If you have joined us before for an engagement session, they might look familiar to you. These guidelines were developed as part of the city's public engagement framework to make sure that we can all join together, be respectful, and open to ideas. So I'm going to leave these up for about 30 seconds so you have the opportunity to read them. If you have any concerns about these guidelines, please let me know by using that raise hand function. Okay, thank you. Seeing no objections to the guidelines for participation, we are going to proceed into this online engagement session following these guidelines. I'm now going to pass this presentation over to Lori Paquin, who is the project manager for this project.
Thanks, Nancy. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the second virtual engagement session for the new Creekside Valley subdivision parks known as the Creekside Valley Park and the Westbrook Park expansion. I am Lori Paquin, and I'm the project manager for these new parks. Joining us this evening is Neil Unsworth, manager of Parks and Shoreline with Engineering Services, our design consultant team, Northern Lights Landscape Architects, and Councillor Paul Shaves. Andrew Johnson of Northern Lights will be presenting this evening. Creekside Valley Park is located on the east side of Creekside Valley Drive and Brookdale Avenue, with Collins Creek to the east and the wetland to the south. The Westbrook Park expansion includes a recently added section of parkland along the east side of Westbrook Park, fronting on Remington Avenue. It is comprised of an existing woodlot with an open area to the north between Remington Avenue and Westbrook Park. Earlier this year, the city hosted a virtual meeting and an in-person engagement session to introduce both parks and to outline the preliminary conceptual designs for both parks. After the meetings, residents were encouraged to complete an online survey and to share their thoughts with us. We had approximately 40 responses to our survey, which provided valuable feedback as to how you want to use your new parks and helped to determine the proposed park layouts and playground selections. Thanks to all for sharing your thoughts and ideas with us. This project is in the preliminary conceptual design phase. The following presentation outlines revised conceptual plans for each site. A second survey will be available on Get Involved Kingston that will help to further refine the designs ahead of the final park designs. Andrew will now lead us through the revised concept plans for Creekside Valley Park and the Westbrook Park expansion. Thank you.
Lori. Good evening, and thank you for attending the second presentation for the Westbrook Park extension and the Creekside Valley Park projects. My name is Andrew Johnson, and I'm here with my partner Scott Grieve from Northern Lights Landscape Architects. We are a newly formed company opening our doors in 2020, and my partner and I bring more than 50 years of combined experience to the company. Our work takes us across Southern Ontario, and we specialize in parks, open spaces, trails, commercial, residential, and institutional projects. We're pleased to be presenting the two Creekside Park projects to you this evening, and we and we thank you for taking time to attend. Next slide. Today we'll be discussing the two park proposals in the Westbrook neighborhood area in the west end of Kingston. The first park is Creekside Valley Park, which is located east of the intersection of Brookdale Avenue and Creekside Valley Drive, and is situated adjacent to Collins Creek Valley. The second park, Westbrook Expansion Park, is located on Remington Avenue, adjacent to the northeast corner of the existing Westbrook Park, and includes a deciduous treed woodlot to the south. The two parks will be tendered and constructed as one project starting in the spring of 2024 with a combined construction budget of $750,000. Creekside Valley Park is a new park to be constructed on lands acquired through the development of the adjacent subdivision. The site is situated adjacent to the Collins Creek Valley with views to the creek and to the valley. Currently, the site is being prepared by the developer in advance of the park construction. The top left image on the slide, number 1, of the existing site is looking eastward towards the existing embankment pointing to Collins Creek Valley. The bottom image, number 2, is looking from the interior of the site towards the northwest. And the top right image depicts the park in context with the adjacent neighborhood in Collins Creek Valley. Creekside Park is located to the east of the intersection with Creekside Valley Drive and Brookdale Avenue. The preferred park layout includes an organically shaped playground and looping pathway system, a basketball half court, along with bench seating, a picnic table, bicycle racks, open play space, and tree and naturalization plantings. Seating in this concept allows for observation of the playground area and views into the valley to the southeast and northeast of the park. The playground features will include a climbing structure with 2 slides, one 5-foot and one 6-foot high, both providing for active play and social skills. An overhead ladder providing for upper body strength development and coordination, stair access with transfer platform providing an accessibility to the climber for those with mobility challenges. There's a vertical rail and crescent moon climber included that provide for upper body strength development and physical challenge skills. Accessible ground panels, which will provide for cognitive development and social skills. There will be 4 swings in the playground, which will feature 2 belt swings, a bucket swing for toddlers, and an accessible swing with a safety harness. A rope spinner is also proposed that will provide developmental of social skills, upper and lower body strength, balance, and coordination and agility. Some standalone elements that could include a bucket spinner for balance and agility development, a gear puzzle for cognitive skills, and spring toys for developing balance and agility skills. The Westbrook Community Park is an existing park with a softball diamond, soccer field, and play area with equipment that is at the end of its life cycle. This park project proposes to replace the play equipment in a new location that is more accessible to the public and in the neighborhood. In the first image, you can see the overall Westbrook Park area and the context of the existing playground situated to the southeast, and the existing ball diamond, which is in the southwest corner of the park underneath the existing playground label. The upper middle image shows the existing play equipment, which is at the end of its life cycle and at least 25 years old. The lower middle image is a view from one of the new playground locations, looking west towards the existing Westbrook Park. And the very right image identifies the location of the existing play components. And as you can see, the play structure and swings are in separate pods and are clearly far apart. The proposed program arrangements will bring these play elements together into a more cohesive configuration. For the Westbrook Park expansion, we have developed two versions of the park layout. Both versions will incorporate the same preferred elements that were identified through the first public meeting. This version, number one, will have the playground located north of the existing woodlot on Remington Avenue and east of the existing Westbrook Park with sightlines to Remington and the existing ball diamond. Park elements will include a play area located away from Remington Avenue along the west edge of the expansion area with sightlines to the existing ball diamond and parking lot. A trail through the woodlot connecting to the park pathway, seating adjacent to the playground for parents to sit while their children are engaged in play, a grassed open play area, shade tree plantings, and removal of understory invasive plant material to help improve sightlines and environmental conditions for the existing woodlot trees. Advantages of this version provide for better design with adequate setback from Remington, visibility into the playground from the ball diamond and Remington Avenue, providing more eyes on the site, more extensive pathway system with 2 connection locations to the street, and it's far enough away from the ball diamond to minimize risk of injury from fly balls. Next slide. This version 2 of the park layout has the playground in proximity to the existing playground equipment east of the ball diamond. Park elements include a play area located closer to the woodlot with sightlines to the existing ball diamond and parking lot, a pathway connection from the parking lot to a granular trail through the woodlot, bench seating adjacent to the playground for parents to sit while their children are engaged in play, grass open play area, shade tree plantings, and removal of understory invasive plant material to improve sight lines and environmental conditions for the existing woodlot trees. Some disadvantages with this version for the park layout is the proximity to the outfield area of the ball diamond, limited sight lines to the play area from Remington Avenue or Woodfield Crescent, and there's only one park connection to Remington Avenue. Next slide. The recommended version 1 playground features include a play structure with 4-foot double slide, encouraging racing and competitive skills, stair access with transfer station to promote agility and provide an accessibility element for those with mobility challenges, inline stepping pods to develop balance and strength skills, ground accessible play panels for cognitive development, handhold climber to develop upper body strength, a back ladder for more challenging climbing and strength development, store and fairy garden games for cognitive and social skills development. It will include 4 swings, 2 belt swings, a bucket swing for toddlers, and 1 accessible swing with a safety harness. Additional standalone elements that could be included would be a spring toy or a bucket spinner. The version 2 playground features include the same elements as the version 1. A 4-foot double slide, stair access with transfer station, inline stepping pods, ground accessibility, ground accessible play panels, a handhold climber, back ladder, and a store and fairy garden games. And as well, it will have 4 swings with 2 belt swings, 1 bucket swing for toddlers, and an accessible swing with a safety harness. Additional standalone elements in this version could include a gear puzzle and a tic-tac-toe game. Thank you for participating in tonight's presentation, and I'll hand this back to Nancy.
Thank you, Andrew, for your great presentation. We are going to move on into our question and answer session now. So I invite our panelists to go ahead and turn on your camera. And for our attendees tonight to join the conversation, you're welcome to add your questions directly into that Q&A, and I will read them out loud for our team to answer. And you're also welcome to raise your hand. I will be watching for this, and I'll acknowledge you and let you know when it's time to unmute and ask your question. Please know that if we don't get to all of the questions tonight, we will make sure your answers are we will make sure your questions are all answered on Get Involved Kingston on our project page. There will also be an opportunity for you to complete an online survey before August 30th to share any additional comments you might have. This survey will be posted on the project page as well. All right, we will get started now. So my first question is from Jillian for Andrew. Wondering if there has been any consideration to developing the already existing footpath that connects Layton Avenue to the current Westbrook Park.
Thanks for the question. We did look at a path connection through there, but with the programming that we have for the 2 parks, it's something that we can't achieve financially at this point in time. And I'm not sure, maybe Lori can chip in on this, whether there's future consideration for making that pathway connection.
Certainly. In our initial introduction to the park, we did show a proposed future pathway connection to Layton up through the northwest corner of the park. At this point, it remains a future consideration and is not currently included in our scope of work.
Thank you, Lori and Andrew. The next question I have here is for Lori. Has there been any consideration to a splash pad?
Hi. Certainly we had this question several times in our last engagement session, and the size of the park as a neighborhood park does not support a splash pad. So there is a splash pad that is to be included in a park near Westbrook. So there will be an opportunity for folks to visit that at a community-sized park called Cataraqui West Park.
Thanks, Lori. Just waiting for a moment here to see if any other questions come in. So we'll just keep pausing here for a moment. Please don't be shy with your questions. We're here to answer any questions or hear your comments tonight. If you think of something tomorrow, though, you're more than welcome to add those comments or questions into that survey that is available until August 30th. If you do have access to the chat right now, we have dropped a link into that survey directly to make it a little bit easier for you to find your way there. So I do have another question here from Sarah. This one will be for Lori. Will the August 30th survey be the last opportunity for public engagement? How will feedback factor in to the ultimate decision-making process?
The survey will close August 30th. You will certainly have the opportunity to reach out to me individually through email before and after it closes. I will state that we are approaching the completion of our conceptual design phase. And at the completion of that phase, we would like to post a final design, after which it is pretty much set. After we have a final design, we move into detailed design drawings, which is also known as construction drawings, and they would be available for tendering and eventual construction. So you will have an opportunity for possibly a couple weeks past August 30th if you want to reach out to me individually, but I would recommend that, that you get your comments in via the survey or email me directly as soon as possible. Your second question, how will feedback factor into the ultimate decision making? We do collect your comments, we read them, and we consider all of the comments that come to us. I think we were quite pleased with the number of comments that were provided in the earlier, as part of the earlier engagement process, and that helped us to further refine the designs which you saw the presentation of this evening. So yes, your comments do matter.
Thanks, Lori. I'm just going to pause again for a moment in case you have thought of any other questions. So I have a request here to just go back a few slides to go back to those, the different designs here for Remington Avenue. So I'll leave this to maybe Andrew or Lori if you want to add anything in. Mike, please let us know if you have any specific questions. I'll pause here on this slide and then I will move it over to the second design in a moment.
Andrew, did you want to give a brief description? Just a very brief description that helps to determine the differences between version 1 and version 2?
Certainly, yes. Version 1 has the play area located north of the existing woodlot with a path access coming off Remington Avenue and connecting down to the parking lot. There's also a path through the woodlot itself connecting to the first path and Remington Avenue. The second layout option, we're showing the playground area in the vicinity of the current playground that's existing on site. In this layout, we have a shorter trail connection from the parking lot and the woodlot trail as well. I'm not sure if that is a high enough overview, or we want to look in more detail into the playgrounds themselves.
Thanks, Andrew. Please let us know if that sparked your curiosity about any of the elements of the new designs, and we can pass that back to Andrew. Neil, please go ahead and unmute.
Hi, Nancy. Thanks, Andrew. I just wanted to comment that of the two designs, we have shown revisions to both of the original concepts from a couple of months ago. The design that you see on the screen right now, where the new replacement playground equipment is proposed to be in proximity to the existing equipment in the park, was drafted up in response to some interest from the community to see what that would look like. The prior slide, option 1 or version 1, which the city staff and the design consultants are recommending, is closer to one of the earlier presentations that we showed, in that the playground equipment would be visible from Remington Avenue. We did hear from the community members that people had some concerns about having that playground equipment too close to Remington, so it was pulled back away from Remington a little bit more. So there's quite a long distance between this proposed playground and the street. In addition, we also heard that some residents wanted to see the playground equipment a little farther from their homes. So again, we've pulled that playground equipment down closer to the woodlot. In fact, there's a really remarkable large oak tree in that woodlot, right in that corner, that would provide tremendous shade and a really beautiful public space for this location. So between the benefit of having that safer public feeling where you can actually see your playground equipment and not have it hidden behind the forest, a longer pathway experience that you'd get with this particular proposal, the actual location in the site is really extremely attractive. And I think if people wanted to go to the site meeting that's coming up in the next day or two, that would be great to check that out. And Lori or I would be more than pleased to meet anyone who is really interested in this particular design on site to try and maybe understand more in person how successful it could be in this location. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. We will give you a moment here again to see if you have any other questions. And that in person that Neil was just mentioning will be tomorrow at the park between 2 and 5. Now, if it is rainy, we will be moving that to Friday morning. We will be posting updates on the Get Involved Kingston project page. So if you're not sure if it's still happening, please go ahead and visit that page to make sure that we will be there either tomorrow afternoon or Friday morning. Another note while we're waiting here to see if there's any more questions. If you'd like to review those design concepts more closely, we do also have those posted on that Get Involved Kingston page. So you can take a longer look, zoom in a little bit, see the playground equipment as well, either separately or while you're completing that survey.